Hi there, my name's Simon Drew, and welcome to the Practical Stoic Podcast, where I give you practical Stoic advice for modern times. If you'd like to see more information about the podcast, or if you'd like to see more of my free resources, you can go to my website. It's risetothegoodlife.com. If you have been getting a lot of value out of this podcast, then please don't forget to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you're listening to this, and leave a positive review. But for now, enjoy this episode. Hi there, my name's Simon Drew, and welcome to the Practical Stoic Podcast. Before I get into what I want to say, I'd like to warn you that the basis of this whole episode does come from an amazing Stoic quote, but I felt that it was more appropriate to be placed at the very end of the show, and I'm sure that you'll agree when we get there. What is it that brings most unease to the soul? What causes the most torment in the minds of men and women all around the world? When is it that we feel most vulnerable and frightened? I believe that it is when we live contrary to the values that we hold. There is a constant battle between two entities within our soul. The one knows exactly the kind of person you wish to be, the values you hold dear, the characteristics you wish to possess, and the ideals that you want to stay true to. The other is your natural being, the one that seeks out pleasure, inactivity, and vices of all kinds. This negative entity doesn't care if you have to go against your true ideals in order to get to the next big high, and so it works as hard as it can to make sure that you forget about the person you want to be. By doing this, it can deceive you into doing things that bring you great pleasure but no long-term fulfillment, and only a manufactured kind of joy. Jim Rohn talked about this as being the magic and mystery of life. Sometimes we do what we need to do in order to get to where we want to be, and that's the magic. Whereas other times we know who we should be, and we know what we should be doing, but we live in complete contradiction to those values, and that's the mystery. Why does this happen? Who knows? It's just the magic and mystery of life. You know, when I look at my life, I'm positive that the times when I have felt most distraught have been when I was not living in accordance with the values that I wished to live by. In our lives, we face all kinds of battles, but there is no battle quite so devastating as the one that takes place within our own head. This battle often takes place in secret, hushed tones, unrecognized by the majority of our friends or acquaintances. And so we fight alone, unwilling to reveal that we are not the person that others may see us as. And although we wish that we could be that person, it has proved harder than expected. Our yearning for authenticity in the public and private view will not be satisfied with a simple decision, but with a strong and purposeful effort. So, if it is a detachment from our core values that makes us most unhappy in life, what is it that can bring the most joy? How can we live a life that is authentic and peaceful in the soul? This kind of life and joy can only come when we live perfectly in accordance to the values and ideals that we wish to live by. In other words, when we are being exactly who we want to be and nothing less. It is only then that we can actually feel at peace within the soul, when we know that how we see ourselves, how others see us, and how we are actually acting are all in perfect symmetry. I'm sure that you can see this in your own life. Wouldn't you agree that you feel amazing when you're actually being who other people think that you are? When you're not hiding your true self? When you're authentically you, and you're actually the person who you say you are? You're not pretending, and there's no act. You're just being a great person. Those are the best times in life. Part of the process of becoming the person we want to be involves serious life change. I would like to suggest to you 3 simple and essential elements that are needed to live an authentic life, and to be true to the values that you wish to live by. The first element is clarity. It is imperative that we are perfectly clear on what we believe and why we believe that. Nothing will strengthen the soul more than having perfect clarity with regards to who we want to be and where we want to go. You wouldn't drive through a foreign city without a roadmap, so why would you wander through life without a map for your values? Perfect clarity will strengthen your commitment to your values, and it will make the vision of your future much more enticing and vivid. Seneca knew this when he said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." Clarity and direction must always come first. The second element that is needed for those who wish to live authentically is focus. Focus is a keystone habit when it comes to fulfillment in any area of life, and for anyone who strives for greatness, it is essential. You need to develop a strong focus and dedication to your core value system. Every day you should remind yourself in many ways of the person you are striving to be. Don't stop at simply writing down your beliefs and philosophies, but read them again and again every single day. When you wake up, you should strengthen your focus by saying to yourself, "Today I will be who I know I am. Today I am committed to being present, focused, and dedicated to my core values." Before you go to bed, it would help you to review your day and to keep a journal of your progress. Be honest with yourself. Write about all the ups and downs. And when you are further into your journey, you will be able to read back and find out that you've made great progress. Greatness in any area of life requires discipline and focus. Without this virtue, we are a ship without a rudder, directionless and without purpose. Finally, we must practice mindfulness. It is impossible to see the soul clearly when we are not mindful, and we must strive to be as clear in our mind as possible if we wish to live authentically. As I have said previously, it is helpful to keep a journal and write down all of the details of your journey to authenticity. By sitting down and consciously thinking about our progress, we are far better prepared to be honest with ourselves. And in my opinion, we can always understand the mind better when we take the time to empty our emotions and thoughts onto paper. Meditation will also be helpful when practicing mindfulness. I personally like the Daniel Goldman focus meditation that involves sitting still and repeating the word focus over and over again in your mind. Whenever your mind wanders away in thought, it is your job to bring it back to focus. Every time you repeat this exercise, it is strengthening your focus and mindfulness muscles. Seneca also has some great advice for mindfulness. He says, quote, "After running over many different thoughts, pick out one to focus on throughout that day." End quote. This is a really great way to make progress because it takes the pressure off of trying to be everything and it allows you to focus on being just one thing. Think about the virtues that you want to show in your actions, and then pick out just one. Let's say you choose gratitude. Now for the rest of the day, be mindful only of that one virtue, and see if you can build these habits, one virtue at a time. Look for opportunities in your day to show gratitude to people and the events in your life. By being mindful of just one virtue, you'll be much more productive than if you were focusing on all of them at once. Try these mindfulness techniques, and you'll be much clearer on your progress at any time. The religious leader David O. McKay taught that, quote, "The greatest battles of life are fought out daily in the silent chambers of the soul." End quote. If you will place a high importance on knowing your soul, knowing your values, knowing who you want to be, and then becoming that person who you long to be, you will find great joy above that which you've ever experienced. Great success and inner peace comes naturally to the man who is clear on his values and steadfast in his dedication to following them. If you will be clear on your values, focused in your efforts to live by them, and mindful of the most inner confides of your soul, then you will surely find greater purpose and strength in the entirety of your life. As promised, I would like to end this episode with a quote from Epictetus. I believe that no words ever written could ever end this episode as well as these. He said, quote, "The longer you wait, the more you will be vulnerable to mediocrity and feel filled with shame and regret, because you know you are capable of better. From this instant on, vow to stop disappointing yourself. Separate yourself from the mob. Decide to be extraordinary, and do what you need to do, now." End quote. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I really appreciate your support, and it means so much to me that so many people are getting such value out of the words that I'm saying. If you haven't done so already, I really would appreciate a review. If you want to give me a 1-star review, please do so. If you want to give me a 5-star, thank you so much. But any review is helpful, and it allows us to get this podcast out to other people who might enjoy it just as much as you. If you want to get in contact with me, please do so. I've had some great conversations with people from all around the world who've been listening to this podcast, and you can do that by going to my website, which is risetothegoodlife.com, and you can send me an email via the contact page there. Otherwise, you can go to my Facebook page, which is Simon Drew, or you can go to my other Facebook page, which you might enjoy, which is Daily Stoic Quotes. If you send me a message via either of those pages, I'll reply pretty quickly, and we can have a great conversation. Anyway, I'll see you next time on the podcast, but until then, I hope that this episode has helped you on your rise to the good life. Ciao. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Practical Stoic Podcast. I hope that you've gotten a lot of value out of it, and I hope that it helps you to live a better life. If you have been enjoying this podcast, then don't forget to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you're listening to this, and leave a positive review so that other people can have the chance to listen to this great work. Don't forget that you can see more free resources on my website at risetothegoodlife.com or on Facebook at Daily Stoic Quotes.